Okay, how about this? Let's try this.
Okay, how about this? Let's try this. Okay.
Okay, so it always helps if I turn the microphone on, right? So today we're going to talk about organic balance in the lives of starseeds and lightworkers. And feel free to chat with me. I'm hoping that we can have some chats. This is really random, again, because that's how I go. I just go with the flow. So a lot of times I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about. There's a lot of times where I'm like pulled to come on and then I don't because I have other things going. And so this time, though, I'm going to talk about it. So, hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. And we're going to start by I pulled a card to say, what am I talking about today? And the card that came up, ironically, was organic balance. So, let me just read to you what organic balance is. So, okay, this is the number 6, the Mayan number 6. 5 plus 1 equals 6. All right, so organic balance. Organic balance emerges from who you are in all dimensions. The stars, too, have roots. So the quality is receptivity, ability to respond. That's what we're going to talk about, the ability to respond. Dynamic equilibrium, roots in many dimensions. We're going to talk about this too, and the fluidity. And that's also what we're going to talk about. So let me just read this to give you guys a little bit of background as to what we're talking about. So the 6 is the ray of organic balance, the dynamic equilibrium of the foundation of self combined with the one point of unity. Organic balance is an active process, not a static or fixed state. Drawing this card indicates that whenever you've become static or fixed, be willing to look at balance with the larger picture in mind. Balance is rooted in the totality of who you are. So let your receptive roots run deep, grounding your ability to respond in this world. Bring your essence self into the present expression. Aliveness is derived from essence. You are the unity that creates organic balance, and you are free to choose, respond, give, and receive. And I think a lot of times as light workers, we forget about this. 6 asks you to respond to life with love, to bring heaven to earth through the embodiment of the 6-pointed star. Embody the divine light of your human form. And this, I think, star workers, light workers have problems too sometimes of embodying the whole human form, where we wish that we weren't here, but that's where we are. And sometimes I think we need to embrace our bodies more, or embrace where we are in this now moment on this 3D planet. And we're going to talk about that. As you are infused with the vibration of heaven, heaven is brought to earth. As you journey homeward, earth is brought to heaven, thus creating organic balance, heaven and earth in symbiotic union. Okay, so this was just a really great card that came up, because when I was first thinking, what am I going to talk about? It was the idea of how starseeds and lightworkers have to balance this 3D life with other things going on in the universe. And most of us are well aware or connected in some way to other beings, other groups. And so we have a hard time with this whole balance thing. And I wrote notes so I don't get off track here, but I wanted to talk just a little bit about actually what's going on, and feel free to tell me what you guys have going on as well. So the 3D life is the real life, and I like to put that in quotations because to some of us, we're living in other vibrational energies, other dimensions, more so sometimes, I think, than we live in the 3D. And not that that's bad. That's not a bad thing. That's your choice, and you're free to do that. But when I think about the idea of balance, I often, when I speak to light workers and starseeds, I often mention that it's all a balance here. So when you find yourself in these higher energies all the time, and talking with other beings, other groups, sometimes you have to remind yourself that you are here, you're on Earth for a reason. if you didn't have a reason down here, you wouldn't be here at the moment. You would be sitting up in the councils with them, right? So what do we have going on Earth right now that distracts us from everything we feel we're supposed to do? Because as starseeds and lightworkers, we constantly feel like we have something bigger to work on, right? And so not only are we just heading into a Mercury retrograde, so if you guys didn't know that, it's actually starting tomorrow, although a lot of people feel that it's already started. We, as far as this planet right now, the planet is very unstable. We could go into this more, although I don't think I'm going to at the time, other than we have other groups helping to try and keep the stability of the planet in a place that isn't too damaging. So that's all I'll say. We also have all these different energies coming in. So like I have a friend who sent me a text today and she said, please tell me that there's something screwed up with the planets right now, because she's having a hard time. And I think, and she's not even like, she's aware, but she's not aware like some of us would consider being aware. And even she can tell what's going on. She knows that there's something else going on. And when you're a normal person, and you feel these things, but you don't really know what's going on, it makes it harder. And when you're a star worker, I like that term. When you're a starseed or a light worker and you feel these energies and you're sorting them out and trying to figure what's going on. So you have your 3D life and you have your 4D, your 5D, your 6D life, depending on how many lives or nows that you're aware of. It can get very confusing. And we have so many other energies coming in. It's not just the, I can't think of what it's called now. The solar, I can't think of what it's called. But we have so many other energies coming in. And so combine that with what's going on in the 3D now, with our personal lives and the political games, all of this, there is a lot of interference, right? And I want to touch on this because I think this is so important, that it's okay for us starseeds and light workers to be in the 3D, to accept and maybe not. Let me think here how I want to word this. To accept that we're here and accept that these are the energies that are here, because we need to stay grounded. This is the most important time. Now, everybody always said this, most important time in history, but this is a time that we have never seen before in the cycles of the planet. And obviously this is not the first time we've tried this, right? But this is the farthest that we've come. And so this is really uncharted territory, not only for us, but for the galactic groups that are helping us. This is all uncharted. And so we don't have all the answers for what's going on or how we should be handling certain situations. But if we get too stuck in, what is our mission? What am I supposed to be doing now in the scope of like Lightworker, Starseed stuff? We miss the importance of being down here in the 3D in this time. And I think in the past, a lot of teachers or a lot of mentors have really pushed this idea of, you're different, you're a starseed, you're a light worker, you have all these important things to do. And while that is the case, you do have important things to do. You also have to juggle and be in this now moment. And that can be difficult. Trust me, that can be very difficult. And everybody struggles with this, me included. I struggle with it. And maybe that's why I'm talking about it. I'm not really sure, but I will be the first to admit that I struggle with it. And I don't have all the answers. But I do know that I've had time to think about this because I've had this happen recently. And so when it comes time for you guys to be completely burnt out in 3D life, because I think a lot of us are right now, not only are we maybe feeling stuck or feeling like I'm not really sure what's going on in like Starseed Lightworker stuff, because everybody is flowing all this information to me. Everybody's saying, oh, on this channel, Ashtar's talking, and on this channel, Archangel Michael's talking, and everybody's giving their 2 cents worth, and it becomes completely overwhelming. And this is the point where you just need to turn this stuff all off. Okay, if it's the 3D world that you're in that's overwhelming, turn the politics off and just be with yourself. If it's the galactic world, if it's the astral world, if it's the different dimensional world, if that's what's overwhelming, turn it off. And you can do that. And this is what people have said to me. They're like, well, I don't really feel like I can turn off those extra dimensions. I feel like I wouldn't be completing my mission if I shut the switch off, and if I shut off all of my abilities or all my gifts. If I turn my telepathy off, if I turn my clairaudience off, if I turn it all off, I'm going to feel like I'm failing my mission. And I can't do that. So instead of doing that, I'm going to burn myself out. And I'm going to try and do it as fast as I can do it and stay connected and try to figure out what's going on both in the 3D world and in all of the other dimensions. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. What's more important for all of you on the ground, I always call you guys ground crew because that's what we are. What's more important is how you guys, is if you guys complete your missions. It's not about how you choose to do it or how fast you choose to do it. It's about the end product. So this is like, a good example of this is like someone who is self-employed, okay? And this maybe isn't even the greatest example, but a person who is self-employed has specific things they have to do every day to keep the business running, right? But the beauty of being self-employed is that if worse comes to worse and you're really feeling stressed out or tapped out, you can set that aside to take some you time and then work harder the next day or whatever, right? So that maybe that's not the greatest example, but that's the only one I can think of at the moment. This is what it's like for you guys, okay? I was just talking to the Lyrans. I was talking to the Lyrans, and they were even discussing recently how everything is so incredibly crazy down here that a lot of the galactic groups but they had a pretty good handle on what was going on, right? They kind of understood things. They could, maybe figure out what the options are for like the future, like the different avenues things might go. But recently I was told that it's getting so crazy is probably not the right word. I don't remember the word that they used down here, that they are having a hard time knowing what's going to happen next. And if they're the ones looking in on us and viewing us, think of what it's like for us down here, right? So, and I can attest to that. I can completely attest to that. It's even hard to speak about because I think for so many of us, there is so much interference going on. And whether it could be interference on both sides. So, for example, let me just give you a quick example here. When you're called on a specific mission, okay, I'm going to use the mission to the Egyptian Queens exhibition that we talked about. There's a video about that if you guys want to see more about it. Bree and I had a discussion about it, but I'm going to use this as an example. So I got called to a mission in the Queens exhibition for National Geographic. Okay, so that was my destination point. That's where I had to get. And in between that time, I had so much interference that energies, groups, all sorts of things were happening to make me overwhelmed, to make me stop my trip so I wouldn't go. And this can happen in your missions, but this can happen in the real world, just everyday stuff. So what I'm saying is that you guys can take a break. You can shut it all down and you can take a break and pick it up when you feel better, when you've rested. Because let's just think about this for a second. If you're feeling stressed in the 3D world, okay, whether it's with work, family, politics, whatever it's with, your body is feeling that stress, okay? And you can't function in any dimensions, per se, when you are feeling drained, when your body is not functioning properly, all right? And I had recently been so stressed over things happening in different dimensions and just different dimension politics, and like just it gets so stressful at times. I was completely stressed, but I didn't realize what it was doing to my body. It constantly threw everything off. I actually stopped my abilities because I just was done. I was like, I'm done for a while. I need to rest. But even if I hadn't stopped my abilities, my body was at a point where it wasn't getting enough nutrients. It wasn't functioning properly. So there's no way I could jump out of body to go do what I have to do. Like you have to be healthy also. And that includes your body, that includes your 3D, and that includes astral or any other dimensions. And so you guys have the right to take care of yourselves. And you don't have to be hooked up all the time. You absolutely don't have to be hooked up all the time. Like we as light workers and starseeds feel that we will fail if we're not hooked up. And that's not true. And if anybody led you to believe that, I apologize, because that is not true at all. Oh, Olivia. Yay. Let's see what Olivia says. Olivia says, I feel stressed that the ascension isn't happening quick enough because of how heavy 3D is, especially with everything going on right now. Yes. And that's really good. I think you're probably not alone. I think a lot of people, a lot of light workers are feeling stressed because I don't listen to other like YouTube channels or things like that. I just don't do that. But I do know from checking in and like groups on Facebook and things that you have so many people getting information, and I'll be the first to tell you that not all that information is true, and you have to be the one to decide what is true and what is not true. There are false light workers, but you have light workers and starseeds saying, you know, well, we just talked to so-and-so and I can't even, like, some of these are so ridiculous that I can't even think of what they say. Like, you know, if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling exhausted and you're feeling whatever, that's okay, because something just hit the planet and we beamed everybody up into the 4th dimension, and that's what's happening. No, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. I completely understand where you're coming from, Olivia, because as ground crew, not only do you have to pick out the false information from the correct information, right? But we're constantly told that things are moving, but we're not really seeing anything. And I think those people that keep saying like things are moving, this is specifically what's happening, those are the ones that I don't really have the time for, because it is true, things are moving, but it's usually not like they say, because what people forget here is that everybody has free will. That's why everybody wants to come to this planet in the first place, because we have free will. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, like, let's say the big G, right? Or the creator sends down a bolt of energy, and anybody who accepts that bolt of energy can be transformed into the fourth dimension or whatever. That's great. But you know what? There's probably going to be half the planet that is not going to accept it, if not more. It's not like that. Like, we wouldn't want to be beamed up anyway, because we're not even done with our work. Why would we want to leave those that we came to help? It makes no sense to me. But now I'm on a tangent. But it's those exact things that get light workers frustrated and get them stressed out. Exactly. And so you have to, I think the biggest thing that helped me was to just drop it all and to have my own guidance for that, because everybody is so different. And this, I mean, I probably should be coming on more and like telling you guys about the personal like updates that I receive on things, because it's nothing like any of these like Ashtar command updates and things like that. It's not like that. But it is moving. And we get stressed out. We're here in the 3D. And I've said this before. Sometimes I think those in the higher dimensions, those in the astral dimensions, those in the spirit world, they forget, depending on how long they've been gone from this planet, they forget what it's really like down here. Like, when I talk to these energies and these beings, they have their own views on things. They have their own points. But when you're like, dude, have you actually seen what I'm going through down here? Have you seen, like, do you really know how hard it is to just like make it through the day here, let alone find enough energy to connect into the grids and connect into astral and other dimensions to see what's going on? It's hard. It is not easy. And, like, I don't want to feel like I'm failing. So I keep trying, even though I'm just exhausted. And I want you guys to just say no, to say, I'm taking a rest. I don't care what happens with the ascension for a second. All I care about is me, because let's focus on you for a second. Okay. See, here's my notes. Now I got all sidetracked. But okay, actually, this is really good. So let's just focus on you for a second. You need to keep your body healthy. If you're not healthy, if your body is not healthy, how can you complete your mission? The whole point of you being down here is to have a body to complete your mission with, right? Some of us are doing work upstairs as well, but like the whole point of having a body is so we can ground in here, to either tether to all of our other people around that are doing things, and or to physically change the world here. And so if you don't have a healthy body, you can't do any of that, right? So there comes a point where you just have to say no. Like, I need to take care of myself. I need some self-care time. And all of you in like astral and spiritual world and whatever, you guys can wait. Okay. And the thing that we forget down here is that it's great to tap into all of these energies and all of these beings and stuff, But unless we're working through us, like what our soul, what we brought in to work through who we are at the core, unless we're working through us, we're only going to reach a plateau with our Lightworker Starseed missions. We can't go any further until you work through you, till you know who you are, till you remember who you are. You don't have to remember all of it. You don't even have to. Okay, so like Olivia says, oh, she's like, I don't even know what my mission is. You don't have to know. Okay, you don't have to know what your mission is. Your mission is to be the best human and set an example for all of the other humans here. So if you don't know what your mission is, I'm going to tell you right now, that is one of your missions. So now you know. You want to treat other people as you would be treated. You want to take care of the planet. You want to send out love and light to everybody, to the trees, to the people, to the flowers, to the grass. You want to cement your energy here on Earth. You want to ground your energy here on Earth. That is what Lightworker Starseed's missions are at the core. Okay? So even if all you do, if you have no idea what your mission is and you feel stressed out because you don't know what your mission is, if you make one person smile, if you open the door for somebody who needs a door opened, if you bless a tree, if you, before you go to bed, send out love and light and healing energy to the world, that is what your mission is. Then you did something towards your mission. So I think we've talked about this before, but it's not always like grandiose things. Like I talk about some of the things that I've done in like knowing I had to go to a specific place to do something specific. Like that seems really grandiose, but it's not like, it doesn't lessen anybody else's mission okay, so let me put it this way. So the reason why you are where you are now, like for example, I'm in Wisconsin. Okay. Hey guys, hey Solar, I miss you, Solar. Hey Sun. So the reason why you are where you are now is important. Everybody has specific energies for the place that they're living. And I was told once that, because I said, dude, like I'm living in this teeny tiny town in Wisconsin. Like, what's the deal with that? If I have to go anywhere, I have to go. I have to get on a plane. I have to go. Like, why would I be in this teeny tiny town? And you know what the answer was? The answer was because that place on the earth needs your energy. So you being there is not only a light for the world, you being there is light and energy for the specific place on earth where you are. And even if you don't think you're helping, remember that you are energy, right? Your body is energy. You have a human vehicle, a human skin suit is what I call it, but it's all running off energy, right? So all of this energy that you have is benefiting the earth and those around you in your little towns, and you guys don't even know it. And that's why that's one of the reasons that I try to come on when I can and like talk about this stuff, because there's steps to this. So let's just talk about the steps for a second. In the beginning, like in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, things like that, and they gave them a name, that like us humans, we gave them a name. We called them, what did we call them? I can't think of it. Not the Crystal Children, but the ones before the Crystal Children. I can't think of the name, but it has to do with indigo. We called them indigo children, okay? And like, because as humans, we have to give names and labels to everything. They were the ones that kind of set things up, right? So they're trying to get the information out at like point blank. This is what's happening. This is what we have to do. Like there's no wiggle room in this. They said people are going to be born with these abilities. They're here to save the earth and you have to do it. But they didn't give you specifics. But now that we're a couple generations in, we know a bit more about what's going on and we have more specifics. Now, the thing is, I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. I don't think a lot of people will say, take a break if you need to take a break. But I'm telling you, take a break. It's better if you're healthy to be able to finish your missions than not. Because the only thing we care about is that you guys stay as healthy as possible. You guys have good lives. You make your life what you want to make it down here, right? So make a good life. But while you're making a good life, just send some energy out. Do nice things. Most starseeds and lightworkers are nice people to begin with. You know, nice souls, nice humans. You just do nice things for people, and that's your mission. And the more you work on yourself, let me say this, Olivia. Okay. The more you work on yourself, and this goes back to keeping the body healthy. Okay, let's read my list. The more you work on yourself, the more contact you will be able to have with other energies. The more you will be able to understand yourself. So, for example, people will say, well, you know, how do I know I have to do something, right? Like, how do you know you had to go to this Egyptian thing? How did you know? You just know. Like, you feel this invisible push and you just know. So, like, here's another example. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I don't know. A couple days ago, I was supposed to come on and do a live video talking about timelines. The whole thing was supposed to be about timelines. I wasn't feeling well that day. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And then the push got stronger. And I was like, no, I'm taking a break. I am not doing this right now. And the push got stronger. And I said no. And that is how you know that you're supposed to be doing something. So I put it off, but just like an self-employed person, I'm still going to give you guys that information on timelines. I just didn't want to do it in that moment because I wasn't feeling well. So let's continue on with this. So by keeping your body healthy, by learning who you are. So how do you learn who you are? You pay attention. The things that you think about on a daily basis are bits of you. So I've talked about this a lot, but when I was little, I was very interested in Egypt. Okay, like that's a ding, ding, ding. That's a clue, right? That's a clue as to what makes me up. Okay, so what are you interested in? What are you drawn to? What places on earth are you drawn to? What timelines or what history are you drawn to? What type of people are you drawn to? All of these things are clues to you. What type of galactic beings are you drawn to? Okay, those are clues to you. And the more you look into that stuff and the more you feel it, the stronger you feel it, you just accept it. You say, oh, wait a minute, I feel this really, really strong, so I am. It's hard not to question, and it's hard not to want to shut yourself down. Like, well, why? Okay, this is a really great example. Solar will know what I'm talking about. How come when I was speaking a language with this person, I had this really crazy visual? Like, what does that mean? I'm just going to shut that out because I don't understand it, and that doesn't make sense. If That's a wrong thing to do. You were talking with someone, you had thoughts, you saw like a movie playing in front of you. That's a clue, right? That's a clue to who you are. And so you need to pay attention to all of these. If there's a program you're watching on TV and you're like, whoa, like that, for whatever reason, that really resonates with me, keep a list of all of these. So I'll give you a really quick example. When the Umbrella Academy started, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. When the Umbrella Academy started and when The Boys started, I almost couldn't watch them because they hit such a personal core within me. And you could tell, yes, exactly. Thank you, Solar. Resonance is the key. That's a good word. You could tell exactly what resonated with, what resonated with me at specific times, because I would feel it really, really strong and I would get emotional over it, or I would tense up, or, there was something specific that would happen with whatever they were talking about. And I knew why, but if I didn't know why, that would be a clue to start looking into things. So let's start there. Keep your body healthy. You're going to start paying attention to things that you resonate with. And that's going to lead you to figuring out who you are and what your specific missions are. Now, everybody has more than one mission, right? And we did this. So look back on our videos. We talked about this. So I'm not going to spend tons of time talking about like specific missions, but we do have a video on it. So the next thing you need to do is work through your trapped emotions. So how do I know I have trapped emotions? Well, how easy is it for you to speak out, to voice your opinion? If you can't do that, if you feel stifled, then sometime at your life, either this life or last life, previous life, someone stifled you enough to kind of block that. And you need to work through these emotions that are coming up. And this is like past life work too, but it also happens in this life. And we'll have to talk about this later, but there is a specific process I can give you guys, but I want to make sure, let me write it all down and get the information on it, and I'll give you guys that process to help figure some of this stuff out. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is keeping your chakras clean and functioning and working on meditation. Well, how do you do that? So a really good example to tell if a chakra is blocked, okay, is whatever chakra it associates with. So like the throat chakra, right? This is another example. If you feel stifled to speak, you might want to check to see if the throat chakra is blocked. And there's other things on YouTube that like, unblock your chakras or whatever. I have a whole bunch in the meditation folder. Or I think they call them, I don't think they call them folders. I think they call them playlists. But I have a whole bunch of those. So look up chakras if you're not familiar with them. They are actually important. And you have what's called behind your neck, you have what's called an angel chakra, okay? And people don't talk about that. But that chakra, once you kind of know who you are and get things kind of lined up and take time for you, that's the chakra that can help channel. That's the chakra that, like, when I go to like the galactic doctors, that's where they give me my infusions and things like that. So there's all sorts of super fascinating things that I don't think probably get talked about enough. Everybody wants you on the front lines and doing, but they don't really tell you what you're doing or how to do it or how to be the strongest, fittest human being you can be while you do that. So I think it's important to touch on some of this stuff. And I'm sure we could go into a lot of specifics about these. If you want to focus on something very specific, you have to let me know. Someone already said they wanted a discussion on negative bloodlines, the negative factor, and we'll talk about that. But That's not really as important as like some of this stuff coming up right now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to work on changing our thought process, our thought patterns, right? So we've talked about this a little bit before, but like when something comes up and you're like, wait a minute, I don't even know how I could have thought that. It totally resonates with me, but it's really weird. I'm going to throw it out. You have to start trusting yourself more, and you have to start believing that this stuff is real. This stuff that's coming to you, this stuff that's happening to you, that this is real. And you can pick what side of the coin you want to be on. I mean, that's your free will choice, right? Like if something comes to you, like I'm just trying to think, I don't even know what it could be. Like, oh, okay. So if you find out that you were working with the DNA projects, okay, on Earth, and you were working in like Atlantean times with the DNA projects. So you could go both ways with that. You could say, oh my God, like that's that DNA project was horrible. Like we were putting animals and beings and whatever together. Like that, the bad people were doing that. And then you're like, wait a minute, no, like we thought we were doing something really good, but we were lied to and tricked. So do you see what I'm saying? Like it goes on both sides of the coin. You pick how you see it. Me being involved in the Super Soldier program, how am I going to see it? Am I going to let that totally ruin my life, or am I going to rise above it? So that's what I'm saying. Like when you learn things about yourself, you get to pick how you see it, right? I could totally let that Super Soldier program destroy me. I mean, it's destroyed millions and millions of people, and nobody knows about this. But I choose to rise above it. I choose to see a different side of the coin, right? So, okay. So you need to clear trapped thoughts. When you have thoughts that come in that say, I'm worthless, I'm whatever, I don't work hard enough, you know, you have to stand in yourself and say, wait a minute. I don't know where this thought came from, but wherever you came from, you can leave, because I'm not worthless. I'm here, I'm working hard, but I deserve to be able to have a break. And that is not worthless. That is me being wise about knowing myself. That is me being wise about thinking about the future. That is me healing my body and healing my soul and healing my energy. So when these thoughts come that tear you down, you have to push them out. And I've talked about this before, but one way to do this is when you have a crappy thought come in that tells you you are less than whatever, you're not doing a good job, you're whatever. You picture these as like little beings, like little whatever, dust bunnies or whatever. And you say, you are not my thought process. I do not accept you. You are not welcome here. And I'm going to call Archangel Michael to come and take you away and to take you to the light. You know, you can even thank it for making you realize and grow, because that's what it's doing, right? Because it was there and said whatever crap to you, you realize that that's not who you are anymore. So you can thank it and you can let it go and just let Archangel Michael take it. And most of these things, like, well, how do I know Archangel Michael took it? You just have to trust. You have to trust that it happened. You have to believe that it happened. So believing is the first key. And then the more that you believe, the more that you will start seeing signs that accompany the belief. And basically what that belief is it's a change of vibration. So if you allow those thoughts to damage you and to knock you down, then your vibration is down here, right? And, you know, like we all have hard times, but you can choose now. Now, you know, when those thoughts come in, you can choose. Do you want to allow it to take over and win? Or do you want to be in charge of you and say, hey, wait a minute, we're not doing this. I am a sovereign being. I have free will. And, you suck and you can leave. Because I think the thing people don't realize here is that we're walking around in this 3D world. So for us, we don't think about the other invisible things that are there to keep us down, right? We just don't think about them. We don't think that there could be little dust bunny, invisible dust bunny energies that come to us and want us to believe crap. And it's true though. It's very, very true. And the moment we start recognizing this, that just because it's there in front of me and it's trying to make me stress out, it's trying to make me feel lower than, I'm already having a tough day, that's when you can just stop and realize, take yourself out of the situation, be like, wait a minute, even though this world is a 3D world, I know there's more going on behind the scenes. And so this is probably not even a part of me. This is probably something that's coming in to knock me down. And that's when you start taking control of you. Taking control of you then is another way to keep your body healthy, right? Yes, so Solar says, be a witness and allow it to pass through. Okay, let's see what else I wrote down. So then I said, you can take breaks if all of this is overwhelming. 3D is overwhelming, spirit's overwhelming, take breaks. Like if you talk to spirits, talk to galactics, talk to people in the spirit world, whatever. You talk to these people and they're being like, no, you have to go, go, go. It's probably not in your best interest, right? So you have that free will to be like, dude, it's not happening right now. And you don't need to feel bad about it. And if you do feel bad about it, you can be like, you know what? You can go talk to Temple over there and she will vouch for me. If you have a problem, you just take it up with her and I will handle it. So if you can't get rid of those things, you just send them to me and I will handle it. Yeah, it's totally okay to be tired. It's totally okay. I mean, even with this whole COVID situation, the commercials even say how do they even say it? Our new world, as our current society changes. So they know that this is changing everything. And this is something else I want to say to you guys. Okay, so when you think it's the darkest, that means this actually goes really well with Olivia's question. So when things are the darkest, there is that much light because everything has to be balanced, right? Okay, so if there's this much darkness happening on this planet right now, there's also this much light. And if there's more darkness, there's more light because everything has to balance. So even though things seem really bad and it seems like just the darkness is coming through, there's always two sides of the coin, and sometimes the only way to light is through the darkness. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, is that the leaders that came before us never really trained the Lightworkers and the Starseeds to go through that darkness, to go into those personal caves, to go and shine their light and heal themselves and become stronger in order to shine as bright as they can. And that's really important. You cannot be a light worker if all you want to do, well, I shouldn't say that. That's my personal opinion. Some people have chosen, and that's okay. I'm not harping on their choice, to be a light worker where all they want to do is focus on light. And that's their choice. All I can say about that is that, in my experience, in order to have one foot on the ground and know what's happening here, you have to go into the deep, dark depths of your blackness, of your tunnel, of your cave, and have to work through all this crap in order to have the strongest connection upstairs and downstairs and be the best light worker that you can be and continue on. Because what's going to happen with those other, in my opinion, what's going to happen with the people that only want to pretend that there's light out there, you should not feel guilty, Olivia, about having shadow work to do. Having shadow work to do means that you are working on your path of being a amazing light worker warrior. I know I have friends who work so hard on their shadow work that they're like incapacitated. But when they come out of it, they are a force to be reckoned with. So don't ever, ever feel bad about that. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, with those that just want to focus on light, and there's reasons for that, like this is not wrong, but they will be in one area, right? They're gonna attract those that need to learn lessons, but I don't think they're going to be able to go incredibly far. Like if you think about this as a battle, right? Okay. You have different squads, probably not the right word. Different artillery army people, and each have their own thing to do. And there's certain armies that can do all sorts of things. And then there's certain groups in the army that only do one thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But in my personal opinion, I would want to do the shadow work, and I would want to work on myself, and I would want to take breaks, because I know that it's going to make me a brighter light. It's going to make me more being able to multitask more. It's going to make me a stronger person in general, right? Because if you work through your crap, even in general, if you're not helping anyone, you've been through it. So you can help people, even if you don't have, like, we don't necessarily always have the answers, but to just tell someone that you've been there and you know what it's like. I mean, sometimes that's all it needs. You can help a person so much by just having them recognize that you too, you've been through it, you know, so you understand those things. So it's okay to work on your shadow stuff, guys. It's okay. And while you're working on your shadow stuff, if you feel like disconnecting, disconnect. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, let me tell you about what happens when you are done with your shadow stuff, when you want to reconnect. Oh, look, I have a cat that's waking up. When you want to reconnect and you're disconnected, and then you get frustrated because you're like, wait a minute, like now I've went through this all and I don't feel right because now I'm not connected and I can't really hear. I'm not really feeling as much, whatever. I'm just not connected. I want to reconnect. And you're thinking to yourself, well, how do I do that? All you have to do is you have to honestly be ready to reconnect, give it time, because let me explain this. Opening up all your gifts and closing all your gifts, all your abilities, I'm not really sure what to call them. It's not like when you had them, you always had them. You don't have to worry about losing them. Like if you have empathy, if you have healing abilities, if you have whatever you have, you will never lose them, no matter how crappy things get. You will never lose them. You can just shut it all off and then you can start it up. But it takes time to shut off because there's a lot of circuits everything has to go through. Okay. So The best way I can explain this is I've done this throughout my life. I've shut things off and I've turned it on, and I just recently turned myself back on after having myself shut off for a long time. One of the last times I did it, and I was wondering, I said, how do I turn myself on, guys? Like, I'm really lost here. I'm ready. How do I do it? I saw in my mind's eye Michael come to me, and we were in a theater, right? So like it makes sense. Like my buddy Michael Jackson in a theater, it makes sense. Okay. So, and he's like, okay, we're ready to turn it on. And I was like, okay, dude, like we're standing in the middle of a theater. There's like no lights here. Like the only reason I know is because like I've worked in professional theater for years. And he's like, I know. He's like, come over here. So we walked over to the side of stage. And in old theaters, there's like I don't know how to describe it, like a large handle, right? That up and down, like you're shutting off a big circuit. And he said, this is your circuit board. This is your abilities, your gifts. This is your connection to all the unseen, right? Right now you shut it off. All you have to do is turn it back on. And like, I couldn't, like the handle itself was incredibly hard to like turn it up. So I was like, dude, you have to help me. I can't get it up. So he helped me. We pushed it up and it was amazing. Like if you ever seen like a warehouse, right? There used to be like a show like Warehouse 9 or something like that. If you picture like sections of lights coming on. So it was like this theater extended for miles and sections of lights go boom, 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 boom. And I didn't understand that at the time. In fact, they finally explained it to me like yesterday. What was happening was that those are all my circuits that were being turned back on. And it's not something that happens overnight. Like it takes time. And so this time when I just turned myself back on, I'm getting snippets of things, right? So like a great example of this was I do a lot of meditating at night. And so that's why I have that meditation playlist. So you guys should try it out, see what ones work for you. I only put the ones in that work for me. So I was doing a meditation and I was laying there, and when I start meditating, the first thing I do, obviously relax, but I connect in to earth, right? And I connect really, really deep in. And so I just picture myself, I say, like Mother Gaia, I'm connecting into earth, I'm grounding myself. And I picture like roots coming out of my body, like grounding into earth, going really far in. And then the crown chakra, the upstairs, I picture, healing light coming in and then feeling my whole body. And so like, it's like this dark and light connecting. And then I open up all my chakras. And eventually you get to the top chakra, which is like flower. And when that opens and your third eye opens, you can feel it because you'll start to tingle. And so I was like, okay, this is going really well. Like this is normally what's supposed to happen. And I was feeling, but I wasn't hearing as much as I normally hear, and I wasn't seeing. So it became really frustrating because I had Ma'at, if you guys know who she is, right? She's the goddess of truth in like the Egyptian pantheon. And the only reason I knew it was her was because I could see her feather. So like I couldn't see her because my clear sight hadn't been 100% turned on yet. It was only partially turned on. So I saw the feather and I barely saw the feather. It was like shadowy. And then I heard her say, we have to talk. And I was like, okay, well, I'm doing my meditation, so we can talk now. And that was it. I didn't hear anything else. I didn't see anything else. So I was really upset. I was like, how am I supposed to, like, I found enough energy to want to turn things back on, to connect into the grid, but I can't see, I can't feel, I can't, like all these things weren't working properly. The answer was was that I have to give it time. It's not like a one-day thing where just all your abilities come back on. So just so you guys understand that, turn them off. That's fine. Turn them off, heal, do what you have to do. But when you turn them back on, picture a switch in a theater. And as you turn them back on, it's going to take a while for everything to boot back up again. So just remember that. Remember that. And I'm hoping that, you know, the more I try now to meditate again, because for a while I was meditating and falling asleep because I wasn't turned on. I was just so exhausted. My body was just so exhausted. My mind, my spirit, everything was just so exhausted. I couldn't even function. So it's okay. It's okay if you guys are tired. It's okay to relax. It's okay to take time off from human stuff, but also time off from Lightworker stuff. It's okay. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss anything important here. Oh, okay. So the other thing, we were talking about how you work on you, right? Like how by working on you, you become more in tune with who you are at like the energy level, the soul level, the big you of the universal you, right? And one of these ways is you'll notice that you go more with the flow. Like you don't necessarily always need to be controlling things, and people kind of come and go into your life, but it's okay. Like you're not super upset that they're gone. You know, like it's okay. You just go with the flow. Bree, Solar, we all just go with the flow. Like we come in each other's lives when we need to, and then we just go out and we come in, and that's how it works. And when you can be more open to the flow, things will also start to change for you. Because the reason is because you're allowing the universe to guide you, and you're not cutting that off and saying, no, I have to control this. I can't believe this person left my life. Are they going to ever come back? You know, I possibly can't do this because I'm just too scared. When you go with the flow, things will ease up a little bit. Now, going with the flow meant that I probably should have done the video on timelines, but also going with the flow is your own choice. So it was okay that I said no and that I slept. I know the video's got to be done and it'll get done, right? So what else? We talked about the push. So when you feel the push to do things, that is a calling, a higher calling, right? Like you don't know what your mission is, but you have a push to, I don't know, help this lady across the street. That could be mission accomplished. Like your missions, guys, don't have to be grandiose. There is not one person who's going to save this planet. It's a million, kajillion, billion little teeny tiny steps. If it's helping a person across the street, if it's paying for somebody's coffee, if it's, you know what I mean? Like it's small things. And most of you guys are here because of your energy. And we've talked about that already. So you may not feel like you even know your mission, but just being here and let me explain this. Okay. So what is my energy? Like you tell me that, okay, so like I don't have to have a mission per se, just me being down here is a mission because I have all this energy that goes out and helps where I live and helps the planet. What are you talking about? Okay, so your energy, each person's energy signature is unique to them, and that is why that's how you can tell people people's energy when you're speaking with them in astral or in spirit world, right? Like the first time Ramsey's energy came to me, I knew it was him because I had known his energy in past experiences. I just knew it was him. I didn't have to ask. That is your energy signature. So this is what I'm talking about. Each of you has a unique energy signature, and you bring that anytime hey, it's so nice to see you. You bring that with you every time you incarnate, no matter where you are, right? So it encompasses everything you are, every experience you've ever had, everything you've ever learned, emotions, like what emotions do you need, have had in your experiences. It is made up of everything you are. So while you're not bringing all of your experiences in your mind, you cannot possibly remember all of your past lives. Part of that is still with you, and that will always be with you. And that is part of your energy signature. That is part of what you bring down here. So all of your experiences, so many of us have been priestesses, healers, have been teachers, have been involved in building communities. All of these things come with you. And that's why you're here, because you've had all of these experiences already. And so we need that energy on Earth right now. And especially why so many of us are connected to Egypt. So let me just talk about this for just a second. If you followed my channel from the beginning and followed with Wendy, Languages of Lights, her and I would do hangouts, and we would go on her channel. So there's a lot of information on her channel. Check that out too. In the beginning of me going through this, of like learning who I am and like balancing out my energies, if you watch those videos, you can see me change and like morph. Like if I was in this Egyptian energy of like learning about my Egyptian experiences, I would like just throw off this Egyptian like look and like vibe. It was just kind of weird, right? Not weird, but like when they talk about shape-shifting, very shape-shifting-ish. If I was in an Atlantis thing, then I was like shooting off Atlantean stuff, like learning about all this stuff. But those of us have all had experiences in Egypt and Atlantis and Lemuria. Why do I know that? Why can I tell you 100% that is the case? Because that's why we're here, because those are the energies that we're bringing back right now. There's other energies, of course, but like those are the ones that we need here on Earth. And I got this whole lecture one day, not lecture. I didn't mean lecture. I meant more like an explanation one day about how important it is to bring those Egyptian energies back. And in the beginning, I felt ashamed, right? I felt ashamed because I was so much in those energies. And not to say that I'm still not, I am, but I've learned to balance them a bit better because now I understand them. When they first come to you and you don't understand why you have them all, type of thing, or like you're living in those timelines now. Like if I'm here now, but I'm also living now on those timelines, and long story, but there's reasons why I brought those forward when I did. And I allowed people to make me feel very self-conscious about how I would, what I would talk about all the time. Or like when I look back at myself, I'm like, oh my God, like you went on video, like looking like that, like what's wrong with you? But the thing was, I was going with the flow. I was in the moment and I was just being me and recognizing me from other timelines. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that energy was so important to bring here that it's fine. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you should not be in a specific energy of a past experience. Don't ever let anyone tell you that, because the reason that you're experiencing it now in this moment, there's reasons for that. You may not know them, but there's reasons for that. So as you're experiencing these lifetimes, whether it's on this planet or other planets, you're going to be exuding this energy. This energy that you exude helps people around you, helps the planet, and is part of your energy signature. So that is what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about you being here, not knowing what you're doing or what your missions are, but using all of your past experiences in that energy signature to help Earth. Okay, so let me just read these just a little bit. So Wendy says, hey sister, I saw you. I'm glad you joined. I haven't done anything live since July for the first time in over 5 years. More belief system work than ever before. See, we all have to take time to work on things. And it's funny you mentioned that, Wendy, because I just somehow knew that like there was stuff going on and you were working things out, and eventually, you know, if it's right, you'll be back and it'll be great. But that's the thing with like being in the flow. I wasn't necessarily in the flow when I allowed people to make me feel bad. I allowed it. It's not their fault that they said something. I allowed them to make me feel bad. But when you're in the flow, you kind of understand that that's you. Like, this is me. It's who I am. I'm not going to change just because people don't want to see that, or they don't want to feel that, or they feel threatened by it. This is why we're here. We're here to be our unique selves. And sometimes that means being non-conventional, especially for us starseeds and lightworkers. And that can be hard. But I can tell you this, that if everybody was always conventional, our world would not progress. You have to have free thinkers. You have to have people who are downloading information from the matrix and willing to put themselves out there to change the world. That's how the world gets changed. It's not by people who hide under a rock being ashamed of who they feel like, who they feel they are. It's people stepping into their power and saying, this is me. I may struggle with it sometimes, because believe me, I do still struggle with it. But at the same time, I work through it. This is who I am, and I'm okay with that. And so, okay, let me read before I get off on more tangents. Val says she tried getting a QHHT session for past life regression therapy, but couldn't be hypnotized. I was so disappointed. Oh, wow. I've heard of people who can't be hypnotized before, and that's very interesting. I would be really disappointed too. But that doesn't mean, let me tell you this, just because that didn't work doesn't mean that you can't know about your past lives or your past experiences. And the way you can go about that, we've talked about it, but I'll just touch on it again, is that you pay attention to your feelings. A great example of this, go to a museum. Well, you can't really go to a museum now, but all these museums are open for free online. Go to a museum, go to your favorite place in the museum, or like your favorite section, and just focus on those artifacts and close your eyes and see where it takes you. This is one of the reasons museums, this goes back to the Egyptian trip, but this is one of the reasons museums are so important, is because they trigger past life experiences and past life baggage and emotions that need to be worked on. They trigger you to remember bits of you. So even if you can't touch it, those artifacts, those pieces of history, they recognize bits and pieces within your big energy field, right? Because that's an experience you had, regardless if those artifacts belong to you or not. And the energy matches like energy. And that's how it triggers the synapses in the brain to make you feel like, oh, wow, this is kind of a homey feeling. It's all about the energy field connecting with the energy field of the artifact. And that is why museums are so important. So that would be one way, Val, where you don't even need to be hypnotized. And that would be a great start. Okay. And Val said she loves Egyptian history. She would love to go soon. Egyptian is what I'm attracted to. See, there again, so many of us have had past experiences in Egypt. And the history that they give us is not the real history, right? So Egypt is not like this. Like it's not like a timeline like this. Egypt, in the way that the energy sees it, is like a massive timeline, which includes like Sumerian and like there's so many different bits of cultures and such that the Egyptian history block entails, that it's super, super massive. It's not just like the little timelines you'll find on like Google if you search it up. So let's just see. So like, okay, a really good example of this, Val, is I have two. Okay, so I want to make sure to word this correctly. So in my past experiences, I have had many, did I say many? Because I mean many, like Egyptian experiences, including Sumerian, including galactic beings coming down to work with like Earth people. Like my Egyptian, Sumerian, Akkadian scope is massive, okay, with these experiences. So there have been people that I have met in my now life who, when we speak languages, I get to have snippets in my mind's eye of those past experiences. And one of the languages that I speak with a friend of mine is like a Sumerian, it's a late Sumerian language that has a little bit of Egyptian mixed into it. When I speak with Ramses and we speak together, we speak an Egyptian language that has Orion mixed into it. And so just from that small snippet, you can see that those, like you can look up videos for like ancient languages, right? You want to hear ancient languages, you can look up videos. But the massive scope of like the Egyptian, Sumerian, Akkadian, all of that stuff is so massive that there are so many different dialects and galactic dialects coming in with Egyptian dialects of the time. So it's very big. It's very big. It's a very big world. So don't let anyone have you put your Egyptian thing into a box, right? Oh, I guess the kitty wanted to leave. Okay. That is why we do Goddess Fridays. Do you still do Goddess Fridays, Wendy? I was going to call you Wednesday. That's really funny. Do you still do Goddess Fridays? We've just been so busy. I've been very busy in the 3D, very busy in galactic world and spirit world that I just haven't even been keeping up. So I apologize. Focus on experiences that create expansiveness. Yes. See, you guys have such good ways with words. Like I when I'm in the moment, yeah, this is really great. Focus on the experiences that create expansiveness, not contractiveness. So let's see, relics, artifacts, and costumes. Yeah, so Wendy did do a thing with like Goddess Fridays where she would dress up and she would have like I'm not sure what to call them. I know Wendy calls them relics. My idea of a relic is a little different than her idea, but like it's confusing. Anyway, they would talk about like just being what you feel and letting that expand you. And so if you're looking for really cool videos, check out Wendy's thing. Yes. Okay. So Sean says, we are the galactic guardians of this realm and universe. We are the centennials of light. That's so true. That is so true. So Solar says, allow those artifacts to activate codes within you through resonance. That is also true. Yeah. So think about this. When you guys go to a museum or you search online in museums for the things you're interested with, just sit with those things for a while. Just sit with the artifacts, sit with the photos of the artifacts, and allow it to feel it. You have to allow yourself to feel these things. And if you want to hear some really cool stories, search out the Egyptian mission trip that we took. And I'll talk all about like how Ramses walked me through the thing and he was telling me all these stories and like all this stuff. It was absolutely crazy. And if I wouldn't allow myself to feel that and to be that and to trust that, then I would shut that all out and I wouldn't have these amazing experiences. And then I would also feel like a crazy person. I mean, a lot of times I still feel like a crazy person, but I accept that. You know, I accept that I just deal with things outside this realm and I'm not just in the 3D. I'm in the astral and the spiritual and the 4D and the 5D and the 6D, and I'm functioning on all levels. And everybody else does their own thing. And they all function differently too. And eventually more people on Earth will, and we're the first ones, like Sean was saying. We're the ones who are starting this out. And if we don't speak up, people don't know that these things exist, right? Okay, so let's see. Do you have any more info on blood types, Rh negative blood? Not really at this time. I don't, because I don't really want to. I think a lot of people give it a lot of hype that I don't know how to explain this. I don't think it's as cut and dry as a lot of people talk about it, because you can have people who are positive blood types be super amazing beings and very similar to those in the R negative type, because R negative is not always like a bad thing. But we'll talk about that more later. I want to make notes so I'm a little more organized on that. Okay, I just had a thought pop into my head, and I can set an intention to do light language that will bring me visions while doing it of my past lives. That's amazing, Olivia. Yes, definitely do that. And you guys can ask. You can ask while you do your light languages. You can ask in your dream world. You can ask to just have a bigger ping on things that, like, if you feel like you're not really good at feeling those energies, just ask yourself and your guides and your teams to like have a bigger ping. Whenever something hits me, resonates with me, I get a shiver. Like my whole body just shivers, and the intensity of the shiver shows myself like how much I resonate with it, type of thing. Okay, Rh blood type is rare, or Rh negative blood type is rare. I'm Rh negative. Yeah, I will definitely get some information together on that for you. I need to sit with my team and write some stuff down. I have some stuff from years ago, but I'll have to look it all up and make notes. We are the technology we've been waiting for. Our avatars are really switches for the galactic energy and motherships. We are liquid crystal technology devices that house our souls. So I would have to say, Sean, that there are some of us here that are definitely avatars. Some of us, though, are actually in human bodies, like real human bodies. So that's just from my experience. I actually just had this conversation about something I really can't talk about yet, but the difference in how this being wanted to come in, whether this being was going to not have an avatar and was going to come in at 10%. Wait, how did that work? Let me just think for a second. The being was going to either come in at 10% in a human and have a full human experience, and then have the other parts scattered throughout the planet, or if this person was going to have an integration and then have like an 80% integration and keep. See, this is the thing, and I'm working on, this is part of the mission. Part of one of the missions is like me writing this book, which I have stopped completely writing. But this is part of it. I want to be able to explain to you guys how not all humans are humans. I mean, it's really, because human is a very strange term to me. Like, I myself, I'm 100% here in the moment, but I am not human. This is just a body, and I'm galactic. I'm borrowing the body, essentially, where like other people are actually like in the bodies. Some people that I know actually have avatars on stasis. No, how does that work? They are on stasis, and their energy and essence is put into the human, and that's the avatar. So like there's so many different things. I know people who have 3 different fractals of other people in them. I know people who are integrating with other beings, and this is all what makes a human very complicated. So this is what I'm trying to work out in writing, and to make it explainable in an easily understood way. And hopefully I can get back on the bandwagon. I just had a conversation with Winston Churchill. I don't know if you guys know who Winston Churchill is, but he said that he was going to help me get back on the bandwagon with writing, because he was also a writer. So I'm really excited about working with him, and hopefully he can help me so I can keep going. But it's okay. Remember, it's okay to take breaks. Okay, so relay from ships. That's actually really cool. I never even thought about it, Sean. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want me to touch on or want to talk about? I've tended to stay away from like what makes up the human talks, just because they're so, I need to figure out a decent way to explain it in easily understood ways that, you know, I don't want people being like, oh, what am I? Like, am I an avatar? Am I a human? Am I integrating? What am I doing? So it doesn't matter. What matters is that we're down here with a purpose, and we have to be the best us's that we can be. And sometimes it's difficult, and we can take a break, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because in the end, as long as we do our work, it doesn't matter what we do in the beginning. It's just doesn't matter. You know, I mean, if I want to take a break, I just have to work that much harder when I'm done with my break. That's all. It's totally up to you. That's what free will is. So, is there anything else you guys want to chat about? Let me just look through my notes. I think the last thing I had written down was that, remember, it's the final destination and not how fast you get there in the end that really matters. So keep that in mind, okay? Especially in a world where it's go, go, go all the time. And just because I had this recently happen, I'm going to remind you guys that coffee is not a meal, okay? The Al Yaha just reminded me numerous times that I have to stop considering coffee as a meal, and I have to actually put vitamins and nutrients into my body, because there's only so many things that infusions can do. I have to actually do the work down here. They can only help so much. So the question is, do I still have vertigo spells? Happens to me constantly every 3 months or so for 2 years. I have not, thank goodness. I fully believe, or no, I know that the reason that I got that vertigo spell was because the SSP went into my brain to try to suppress the memories that were coming out. And I haven't had that happen. I do know that for sure, 100% for sure, that my memory has been erased twice. I don't know if I have all of those memories back. So let's talk. Maybe we'll just talk about this for a second. So you have the Akashic records, okay, and you have your subconscious. So the Akashic records are recording everything, but it's recording it as if somebody is watching it. Okay, so let me say that one more time. The Akashic records are recording everything, and your subconscious is recording everything. The Akashic records are recording it as if it's a movie, as if they are watching you do these things. The subconscious is recording it from your eyes as you see it. Okay, so there's two different things. So when your memory is erased, whether it's the Super Soldier program or whatever, however your memory is erased, that erases your subconscious, your moment. So you no longer have those memories of seeing it. Now, some groups will work with you, depending on how important those memories are, to get them back, if they can. But if they are erased from the Akashic records, let me rephrase that. Okay, but if they're erased from the Akashic records, there's no way it can go back. Now, if it's still in the Akashic records, which most likely it is, it's not like things usually get erased from the Akashic records. So don't go thinking that happens, because that doesn't really happen. Only under certain circumstances. So in order to get those memories back in you, it's never going to be the same, because even if they're going to pull from the Akashic records to put them back in, it's still only viewing them from the outside as a movie. So even though I could possibly get some of those back, it's not going to be like my brain. It's not going to be like the original memory, because there's no way, once that memory is gone from the subconscious, even though it's recorded differently. Does that make sense? Probably very confusing. So your records, the records in your brain can be changed. Because remember what I said, we're here in 3D. We usually think in a 3D world because we're humans in a 3D. We don't think that there's other programs like the Super Soldier program. We've talked a little bit about that. Or other beings that are invisible to our 3D eye that can do things, right? And this is how our energies get affected and whatever. But it can happen that they can go in and they can delete things. Usually this doesn't happen to normal people. This happens to people who are in Super Soldier program and things like that. So I don't want to freak anybody out. It's not something that usually happens. But in the case if it does, records can be changed. Records can be changed. Usually doesn't happen though. It usually doesn't happen. So anyway, I don't even know why that came out. So yes, Sean says, we do. I do. It's not a we, it's an I. Well, it is a we, I guess. It's a we. It's, if you look up Your Temple Beautiful on Facebook, you should find us. I don't post, I don't post very much because I don't. I'm self-employed. We run a historical apothecary. So all of my energy for posts and things go to running the business. So that's why I'll post, hey, come join me. And that's it. That's why not much happens. But we do have an Instagram account. I have an Instagram account. I don't know. We have an Instagram account. And right now I haven't posted much, but I am going to start posting conversations, channelings with Ramses. I did post a channeling with Ra and his quotes. We talked about Ra before. So if you want to see some Ramses quotes and things, you can look us up. It's Your Temple Beautiful on Instagram too. So yeah. Anything else, guys? I'm just so glad everybody joined. I'm more than happy to keep talking, but I don't know what to talk about. So you have to tell me what to talk about. Otherwise, we'll head out. Yeah, Sean, I do one-on-one sessions. I haven't in a long time, and I would, but right now I still need to get all of my lights turned back on for all of my abilities, because I had them off for a while. So I do, but feel free to send an email, and like when I'm back up and running, I'm more than happy to chat with you. Yeah. Anything else, guys? Let me look through my thing and make sure. Otherwise, it's interesting because I write notes. I have this journal that there's just notes everywhere. And I wrote it on the same page as detoxing the body, which I find very interesting because I think that's really important. Which is why, again, coffee is not a meal. Even though I kind of wish it had more vitamins and minerals to be a meal sometimes. Let's see. I'm just trying to think if there's anything. This also goes in with like the stuff Ra was talking about sunlight and how you've been led to believe that like the sun is bad, right? And you have to protect yourself from the sun. And while some of that is true, like some of it is not. Like the sun has vital information and nutrients, obviously. But if you do sun gazing in the afternoons when sun's setting or in the morning, like there is a lot of information and wisdom that the sun's rays will impart to you, plus nutrients, obviously like vitamin D and stuff. So that is one way to help with your energetic self, but also help with your physical self as well. Okay. I have questions about the SP. You are the most knowledgeable person I've met about them. You're the real deal. Thanks. Yeah, I have a lot to say. Well, I have a lot to say on it. And I can because they can't touch me anymore, which is not what happens to most people. Most people kind of live in the fear of them taking them out, but they can't take me out. So having said that, though, I don't want another bout of vertigo because that was absolutely horrible. And so like I won't give out classified information, but I do have a lot of information that I think can help individuals like figure out where exactly they were, where they were put, what they were doing, even how to get out of it. So yeah, I'm more than happy to chat with you. And you can email me. Like I have some people who just email me, preferably on the Facebook page. And I'm horrible. Those people will tell you I'm horrible at responding, but I will respond. And so if you have questions, you can just ask me them there. And we don't necessarily have to have a session, just as long as you have patience for me to respond. I'm more than happy to share knowledge. Jen says, I can't seem to stop sugar. I gave it up for years and I'm addicted to it, and coffee and caffeine. Yeah, that's the thing. Like sugar is a drug, right? And we've been brainwashed that sugar is good for us when really it's not. And oh, that's so amazing, Sean. I was in their time travel programs as well. So yeah, I would love to talk to you about that. That's super cool. So we can talk a little bit about timelines. Speaking about that. So just so you guys know, you are all on timeline 1 Okay, so the timeline that you live on right now, that is your timeline 1. And the timelines have numbers, but the timeline is the timeline that you chose, right? So that is your timeline 1. Like, even though I travel to different timelines, this right here talking to you is my timeline number 1. This is my primary timeline. That's so cool though that you're in there, because here's the thing. So like now we're just like randomly talking about stuff, which is totally cool. I don't mind that. It's not easy to be in their time travel program. So you have to have like, I mean, I was reading your energy before, Sean, when you were writing those things, but you have to have a certain energy and abilities before you even come into the program to be able to time travel. It's not like they can just be like, oh, we're going to teach you to time travel. It doesn't really work that way. Like, they had to read your energies beforehand as a soul, as like a energetic being, to say, yes, like you've been around the block, like you have the energies to be able to time travel. Now, whether or not you can do it successfully, like remember how to do it successfully, is another thing. And like, and if you can, then you're our person. Like, there's not tons of, it's not like when they, how do I say this? The time travel program never had tons of people in it. It's a program that very few people can be in, if that makes sense. You'll have to send that picture to me. That's one of the things he said. The black and white picture in 1940, British Columbia, Canada, is me. I enjoy finding, and not necessarily related to the super soldier program, but I enjoy finding doppelgangers of me. And some of them, possibly could be, but I'm one of those souls who, whether or not I'm split up in multiple places, I'm usually always here. Like, I at least have one of myselves here on Earth. And so I always enjoy finding doppelgangers, and maybe someday we'll go over them. I'll show you like all the pictures, the real legit pictures I found of like me through history. And it's very possible they could just be lookalikes. I'm not saying that they're actually me. It's just could be totally lookalikes. But it's very interesting to find pictures of you. And if you guys haven't done this, when you go to antique stores, be on the lookout for it. Like, it's something really cool. I have a little folder, like a little doppelganger folder, that I keep of like not just me throughout history. If you can find like the likenesses, right, or the past experience that you know of, and then but like me as doppelgangers. Because I'm weird like that, I have a folder of me's throughout history. So yeah, do it. If you haven't done it, it's a really fun little hobby to have. Yeah, very interesting, Sean. Send me an email and we can chit chat. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any other questions. I mean, I could probably talk about SSP all day, but that's not what I came on to talk about. The one who is wearing modern clothes. Oh, you're talking about the thing. I don't know. I wish I had a picture I could bring it up. We could all look at it, but I don't have a picture. So Olivia said, my 7-year-old recently told me out of the blue that he's a time traveler. He said, you do remember, Mom, I'm a time traveler. Don't you remember when I traveled to the future? That is so cool. That is so cool. And just so you guys know, remember that time is not linear, right? So when I'm done with this experience, if I want to come back to Earth, but I want to come back in like 1650, I could totally come back in 1650. And that is why history is actually always really changing. But it's not linear. Like you can have this life now, and then you can go back and live whenever you want to live. It's not, yeah. So, okay. I don't know. That's so cool that you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. I'll just hang out for a little bit so you guys can like continue chatting. If there's, I don't know, if there's something I can think of, I'll let you know. Oh, this is interesting. Why do I feel like I'm on a roller coaster? It says Fibonacci spiral, mastering frequency. Yeah, so when I talk about frequency, I really, really, really important, and I probably don't emphasize how important it is, but it's really important. And when you guys realize that by turning off the TV, by putting on whatever music you like, you know, like I usually listen to music from the 20s, 30s, and 40s just because that's what I do. All of that stuff, everything around you gives off a frequency, right? So when you choose to put yourself into a better frequency, a higher frequency, when you choose to be around things that vibrate higher, okay, so like coffee, blueberries, like what is a higher vibration? Probably the blueberries, right? So, you know, I mean, we're all on a different scale, but mastering your frequency and realizing that everything has a frequency and you can choose to be in a different frequency, that will change your life alone. Honoring how you feel, taking small steps, frequency of collaboration and acceptance. Oh, celebration, frequency of celebration, acceptance, even if you have a bad day. Yes, that's true. So what I do is, even when I have a bad day, like I will lay in bed and I will think of at least 5 things, try to make it 10, that went well during the day that you're thankful for. Like if it's really bad, a lot of times I'm like, I'm thankful that we had good food. I'm thankful that, you know, that I was able to help people in my job. I'm thankful. So if you can think of things as you're thankful for, that will help also with your frequency and your vibration, and it will change things, because what you put out is what you're going to get back, right? So you probably want to put out good things so you get back good things. I mean, it's not rocket science, but when you pull it apart, there's a lot to it. Like, you know, it's all about frequency and vibration and thought processes and reclaiming yourself, not allowing people to make you believe something you don't want to believe. Allowing yourself to say, hey, I need to rest. Allowing yourself to learn to mess up, to go into the darkness, to work through those emotions. Allowing yourself to believe that even though you're not quite sure that you have like a specific mission, you're still working on your mission because you are being the best you can be, and you're sending out wonderful, amazing energy to the earth. So I think that's it. And I guess we're going to end it here. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And I hope that this helps you guys in some way anyway. If you guys have questions, let us know. Maybe we can make another video discussing something specific. But other than that, I'm going to let you guys go. Make sure that Sean and Jen get each other's information so you guys can talk about experiences and stuff. And otherwise, if you guys send me a message, I can make sure everybody gets everybody else's information, right? So, okay. Hopefully I will come back soon. Well, I have to, because we have to talk about timelines. And timelines fascinate me. I love timelines. I love jumping timelines. So that'll be very exciting when that happens. Okay, so thank you guys. Much love, blessings. Oh, I should probably send a blessing for you guys in light language, right? I'm going to send you guys a blessing in the language that Ramses and I talk in, right? Did you hear that? Okay. So, which is like an amalgamation, I don't know if that's right, of like Orion and Egyptian, right? So let's do some blessings. Guashatiasa no kiata no antiasu. Kwa ai no so kushit iomonialat. Yaku ushat shahane kikiolo onobo. Kakiasoto neasugala ashoko uma tiasaki itiana nalopa. Ku o satiaka. Ant iko anianaku upa niatas. Yakupashuta muka onat anatasa. Kulupatiano jubana sata ku ushatia su utu una asa rapa up ik uniowash. Kohio ush I atiasant I umaja bukatiaso balatiana kaasha mahala. Namaste. Okay, much love.